Welcome to Mrs. Baez's 6th grade math video lesson. This lesson we're going to look at prime or composite numbers. This is the first video in the prime factorization series. Please do not use a calculator, but you may use your multiplication chart. Let's begin by looking at the vocabulary we need to know for completing prime or composite numbers. Let's start with factor. A factor factors are numbers that you multiply together to get a number. Prime number is a number that has only two factors. And a composite number is a number that has more than two factors. And let's go back up here and just say that those are numbers we multiply together. Let's look at a few examples. Let's start with 7. What do we times together to get 7? Well, that's 1 times 7. Do we have any other factors that we could multiply together to get 7 other than 1 times 7? Well, the answer is no. That means that 7 is a prime number. Now 17. What two numbers can we multiply together to get 17? Well, 1 times 17. Do we have any other two numbers we can use to multiply together to get 17? Well, no, the answer is no. That means 17 is prime. Now let's look at 16. What two numbers can we multiply together to get 16? Well, 1 times 16. Any others? Well, yes, 2 times 8. Is that it? No, we could do 4 times 4. Notice in this example, we have 6 numbers that can be multiplied together. Now, not all 6 at the same time. In groups of 2, we multiply together to get 16. But notice we have more than 2 factors. That makes 16 composite. And now let's look at 29. What two factors can we multiply together to get 29? Well, 1 times 29. Anything else? No, that makes 29 a prime number. Let's look at the hundredths chart. Well, in your Google Classroom, you will find that I added my hundredths chart there. So if you want to print this off at home, you may. Or if you just want to make a list from the chart, you may. And the list I'm referring to is a list of prime numbers and a list of composite numbers. So notice that I've already filled this out. I've highlighted all prime numbers. So first let's begin with 1. Well, a lot of people think that 1 can be a prime number, but 1 is that special number that is not considered to be prime or composite because it is a factor in all numbers. So that one doesn't count as prime or composite. But notice 2, 3, 5, and 7 are all prime numbers. It is these 4 numbers that we will use most often. In the next row, we have 11, 13, 17, and 19. Next is 23 and 29, 31 and 37, 41, 43, 47, 53, 59, 61, 67, 71, 73, 79, 83, 89, and 97. These are just the numbers from 1 to 100 that are prime numbers. Now, if I didn't highlight the number, then it's considered to be composite, which means that it has more than 2 factors. Well, let's make a list of what we should have learned from this. Let's start with even numbers. Well, looking at this chart that's been highlighted of all prime numbers, notice that the only even number that has been highlighted is the number 2. 2 is the only even prime number. So I'm going to write that down. 2 is the only even prime number. And that's because every other even number can be divided by 2, which means that it's going to have more than 2 factors. Now let's look at odd numbers. Well, you might think then that all the odd numbers are prime numbers, and that's not true. We have 7 is prime, 9 is an odd number, but it's composite. It has more than 2 factors. 11, 13, 17, 19, those are all odd, but so is 15. And 15 has more than 2 factors. So as we go through this list, these are all that I've highlighted. They are all odd numbers, but that doesn't mean that all odd numbers are prime. So we have some odd numbers are prime, and some odd numbers are composite. As we work the rest of this week, we will notice that we really need to pay attention to the numbers 2, 3, 5, and 7. Those will be our most common numbers that we will use. I think I'll make that a note. Most common prime numbers. And then the next row of numbers, 11, 13, 17, and 19 would be the next group of prime numbers that are used. But they are certainly not nearly as common as 2, 3, 5, and 7. All right, let's look at our practice. Please go to IXL 6th grade E.3 or E.3, and you should see the words prime or composite. Please remember, I want you to work to 80% to get full credit, and 100% will get you a bonus point. Good luck!